We're in open session. Crank it up. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Common Council meeting for February 22nd, 2011. Clerk will call the roll, please.
Gilbride.
Here.
Anderson.
Present.
Jarvis.
Here.
Lottie.
Here.
Fowler.
Here.
Hanson.
Present.
Sedlacek.
Here.
Fernsler.
Here.
Thank you. We'll stand for the pledge, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening to our viewers in the audience tonight and those at home. We appreciate you tuning in and coming to show your interest in the council meeting. Next item on the agenda is item 3, acceptance of the minutes of the regular meeting held February 8th, 2011. The chair will entertain a motion to accept.
So moved, Alder Anderson.
We have a first and a second to accept the minutes of the regular meeting held February 8th, 2011. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Next item is Alderman Hanson.
I'd like to discuss to move on two things that are on the agenda. I'd like to move that we delete item 6A. So I move that.
And,
It needs a second.
Second, Alder Jarvis.
oh, I thought you were going to
Just
complete
wanted-
your and.
Just one at a time.
Oh, okay. We have a first and a second to delete resolution item 6A. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that item is deleted. And your second item, Alderman Hanson?
My second is to move item number 7 to the committee of the whole in a possible closed session. So delete it from the agenda tonight.
Second that.
We have a first and a second to move item 7 to a committee of the whole possible closed session. Did I say
That's
that correct?
correct.
Discussion?
Yes, I want to know how come I don't have a say on that. I put it on the agenda, and all at once, bingo.
I would ask City Attorney Fever to maybe procedurally, I don't want to ask Charlie, Alderman Hanson, because you made the motion, so I don't
Good point.
think it'd be appropriate for you to comment
And this is something
on
that's
procedure.
governed by your internal operating procedures, and it's clear from your ordinances that any alderperson has the ability to place something on the agenda, but there's no restriction that once placed, that the rest of the council doesn't have the ability to remove it. So if it's the council's desire to make the motion and pass that, then it would be removed from the agenda.
And it would only be removed from the agenda, but not deleted, but put on a future agenda.
Correct, committee of the whole
Is that
with a possible closed session. Mayor Cohen?
Alderman Hanson?
We may discuss this. I kind of asked what this was going to be about, but there was not any information given to me about what this agenda is about, and I guess I would like to defer to a committee of the whole, a closed session, if possible.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman
I really
Dozart?
don't have a problem with that. I just don't like the idea that nobody even bothered to talk to me about it. But it's okay.
I
I
would,
don't have a problem.
I would assume we're looking at moving this to March 8th
Yep. it's
as
gotta
a
be
committee of the
next one.
whole?
Or a possible special meeting if, whichever.
Okay, but I mean, it would be the next meeting normally?
Correct.
Yep,
Okay.
that's okay.
Any other discussion on removing item 7 and moving it to a committee of the whole to be scheduled, possibly closed?
And as we all know, it needs to meet one of the statutory exemptions for a closed meeting, so if that's gonna be the crux of the discussion, then yes, it would be appropriate for a closed session and should be noticed up as such,
Okay, and we'll have to deal with it when that happens.
yes.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, unanimous. Item 7 is moved to a future committee of the whole. Okay, thank you. Going back to the next item on the agenda is item 4, the audience portion, where we ask the audience to come and address the council and tell us what's on your mind. It's your chance to speak to us, and we get to listen, and we encourage you to do so. Tonight, we have one person who signed up, and Bill Immig, would you please address the council? Thank you.
Just wondering for the council and the public out there that, because of the snowstorm on Monday, trash pickup has been delayed one day all week. You may already know this, but it seems a lot of people don't. So just put your garbage out the day after it normally goes out. It will be picked up, Fridays will be picked up on Saturday. So just want to let you know that, and just remind people to keep shoveling those sidewalks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bill. Moving on, the next item on the agenda is item 5, ordinance. 5A, an ordinance repealing and recreating section 13-1-174 zoning code fees and section 14-1-90 paren D and paren E related to plot and certified survey map fees, both of the municipal code of the city of Plymouth, Wisconsin. This is ordinance number 3, the first reading. This was approved by the Plan Commission on February 3rd. Ask Clerk Huberty to acknowledge that it is on file and to stipulate that it's on file in the clerk's office for the record. And maybe we could highlight what the crux of this is. Director Jurgens?
It is also attached to the agenda on the website, so if anyone wanted to.
Right, and we're starting to do that for the audience at home, and I think that's a good thing to mention too. Thank Clerk Huberty.
You may recall that previously we've passed an ordinance amendment removing the building code fees from the ordinance and then establishing those by resolution, which we recently approved. This ordinance amendment would do the same thing for zoning fees and remove the fees from the ordinance, and then a resolution would then be approved establishing the fees for zoning matters. That's why item 6A was deleted from the agenda, because there's going to be, this is the first reading, and there'll be a second reading and public hearing at the first meeting in March. And then that night, we could take up action on this as well as the actual fee schedule.
Thank you, Director Jurgens. That's the first reading notification. Next. No, first reading, we don't have to. Next item on the agenda is ordinance 5 Bravo, an ordinance repealing and recreating section 2-2-5, standing committee and action on committee reports of the city of Plymouth, Wisconsin. Ordinance number 4, this is the first reading, recommended by the Finance and Personnel Committees on February 7th, 2011. And again, we'll stipulate that that is on the website and attached to the agenda. So with that, I think let's have Director Jurgens highlight that, and then we'll take a question. Normally, we don't have discussion on the first reading, but I think we're trying to get through the process here. So Director Jurgens, why don't you highlight that for us?
After the packet went out last week, I had a brief discussion with Alderperson Lottie, and one of his questions was related to section E4 in reference to the library. Is that correct? And I just attached on the back of the memo, there's a section copied from the Wisconsin League of Municipalities, which is titled Control Over Library Employees. And just wanted to emphasize that by state statute, the library board has supervision authority over the library, including the appointment of the librarian and other employees. So in fact, the library board does have direct control of who is hired and who the employees of the library are. So just wanted to make that note. And then in discussion today, in our agenda review meeting with Mayor Pullman and some of the staff, another issue came up as it relates to E4. The current language in that section states to interview and hire employees for all city departments except the fire department, police department, and library. We may want to propose a change to that or an amendment to clarify that a little bit more. And that proposed language or something similar is on the handout, but I'll read it. To interview and recommend the hiring of employees for all city departments as prescribed in a hiring policy or in the city's hiring policy. The committee may delegate the authority to interview and recommend the hiring of seasonal and/or limited-term employees to department heads or the director of city services. The Finance and Personnel Committee shall not interview or make recommendations related to the fire department, police department, or library employees. Currently, we do not have a process set up where the elected officials interview seasonal or limited-term employees, that is done internally with department heads and other staff. And so that's a further clarification. I think the intent was that the Finance and Personnel Committee would make recommendations to the full council related to the hiring and appointment of city officials, and so that clarifies that a little bit. And so if you have questions related to that, we could take an action to amend the language and insert that language in the existing ordinance. And then also, I guess it's up to the council tonight. You could waive the second reading to get this going. We do have lots of budget work to get going on, but if you wanted to wait for the second meeting in March, we could certainly do that.
I would entertain a motion. I think we have to do it in two parts, if I'm not mistaken. We would have to waive the second reading, and then we would have to agree to insert the proposed new language, but I think we should do it separately. Does that sound agreeable?
And Mayor, just to clarify, there isn't a requirement that you have two readings. So if the council would like to move forward to adopt the ordinance.
Correct.
Including the amended language, I think you could do just that, and it would get you where you want to go.
Okay, so, Alderman, well, to discuss, we have to have a motion first.
I'm going to make a motion that we
Waive the second reading
waive the second reading, accept the ordinance with the amendments.
and insert the change as
Insert the
proposed.
change that was proposed. That was my question I was going to ask you before.
We thought we were getting there, that's why we didn't want to do that. Okay. We have a first and a second to waive the second reading, and can we do it in one? I don't see why not. And insert the proposed language as it was handed out. Discussion on that. On both of those. No discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Hanson.
Yes.
Jarvis.
Yeah.
Sedlacek.
Yes.
Lottie.
Yes.
Fernsler.
Yes.
Dobratz.
No.
Fowler.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Sorry about that. I have to make a few notes to myself when we get going on issues like that. Moving on, item 6A was deleted. Moving on to item 6B, a resolution in support of International Migratory Bird Day on May 14th, 2011. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the resolution, stipulating, of course, that it is on file in the clerk's office, and this too is attached to our agenda. Clerk Huberty?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Thank you. I got to try to remember to say that correctly.
So moved, Alder Anderson.
Second, Alder Lottie.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Thank you, Bill, for bringing that to our attention.
Just so that the
Where
public
did we-
knows, the city of Plymouth has been a tree city community for, I want to say 18 years now. And the state has just come up with a option to become a bird city. And this is one of the steps to become a bird city, Wisconsin. The first bird cities were presented last year, so we're not quite a charter member like we are with the Water Star program, and it's something I've been working on the park board with. And if you look at our webpage, you'll see there's a lot of information about bird habitat and bird stuff, keeping birds from hitting your windows. So it's something that's kind of, there's a segment of the community that enjoys birds, and we'll be a bird city, hopefully.
Good.
Thank you for having that.
Thank you for bringing it forward, Bill. Item 7 was our item that was moved to a cow meeting. Moving on, item 8, discussion and possible action regarding Edna Street claim against the city. Chair will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to deny the claim.
Second, Sedlacek.
We have a first and a second to deny the claim against the city regarding the Edna Street claim. Any discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Anderson,
Yes.
Dobratz,
Yes.
Lottie,
Yes.
Jarvis.
Yes.
Fowler,
Yes.
Fernsler,
Yes.
Sedlacek,
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Item 9, authorize the mayor to sign an agreement with the Department of Transportation to reconstruct North Milwaukee Street using federal STP urban funding for 80% of the cost, and the city to pay 20%, equaling $54,400 in 2013 and 2014. I'll call on Bill to maybe summarize that for us, and then the chair will entertain a motion.
Sure. I put an application in earlier this year for this STP funding, and what it is an 80-20 split. And the funding is available only on our collector streets, our classified streets with the state. And North Milwaukee Street, and then as it goes up to Western Avenue is one of those streets. Eastern Avenue, that's how we paid for Eastern Avenue down near the Kmart when we widened it and put in curb and gutter out there a few years ago. So this project, I'm hoping, I mean, this number seems really high for the little short stretch it is. But there is quite a bit of storm sewer work involved that you won't see that needs to be done. But if there is enough funding, I'm hoping we can at least get this block of Milwaukee Street and then Western Avenue up to Elizabeth Street done. This stretch of North Milwaukee Streets, this stretch where it has that asphalt patch in the middle of the road that drops down so that you've got about a 1.5 inch longitudinal differential in pavement on that block. So it'll clean up that. The engineering would be done in 13, and the construction actually wouldn't happen until 14. So it is a ways off, but it is a commitment of these funds. So I just want to make you aware of that. But in the same token, the federal government is committing their $217,000. So, any questions?
Alderman Sedlacek.
thought that the state was gonna come in and redo 67 as basically North and South Milwaukee Street, and then even through town on Caroline and
Yes, they
Maiden
are.
Mill.
But this block isn't part of that.
I thought they were gonna redo it all the way out to.
Nope.
This is the stretch from Mill Street to Main Street by West Side Pantry, Antoinette's.
Oh, that
That-
crosses the
This-
railroad tracks there.
This is
Yeah,
not
but
60,
just-
this
It's
isn't
not
It's
67.
not 67.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
That's, I
We
got you.
talked about making it 67.
I got
Yeah,
you
we
now.
In the
looked
past.
into
Right,
doing
right.
that too, but,
Okay.
so.
Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second, Sedlacek.
We have a first and a second to authorize the mayor to sign the agreement with Department of Transportation to reconstruct North Milwaukee Street using federal STP urban funding, 80-20 split, as discussion.
Mr. Mayor?
Alderman Sedlacek and then Alderperson Jarvis.
Yeah, I know that we went through the whole changing 67 thing and so forth. Is that, now would that pretty much just shut that all down? Even though I know we,
This doesn't do anything to that. If you ever wanted to do that, if we ever wanted to do it, the state won't do it. We've already told them,
no,
but
so.
if the city itself wanted to do it at any time,
Mhm.
you know, we could look at doing that. But that isn't part of the plan here.
Anymore, okay.
Alderperson Jarvis.
Yeah. So we would have to budget for this in years 2013 and 2014 over a
That's correct.
2-year? Okay, and that's something that you think that will be able to fit into the Public Works budget?
We can make it fit.
All right.
It's just part of the street.
The 60, Alderman Sedlacek, the 67 reroute would have been part of the project had we rerouted it.
Correct.
But now it still goes the old route.
Right.
So if we do anything there, that's 100% ours.
Correct.
Okay. Any other discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Fernsler. Dobrow.
Yes.
Fowler.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Jarvis.
Yes.
Sedlacek.
Yes.
Lottie.
Yes,
Motion carried, thank you. Item 10, authorize 4 100-watt HPS ornamental streetlights on Hummingbird Lane between Killdeer Lane and Highland Avenue in the first addition to Eagle Hills subdivision. Chair will entertain a motion to approve.
so move all Lottie.
Second, Alder Jarvis.
We have a first and a second to approve the authorized 4 100-watt HPS ornamental streetlights as indicated. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
Alderman Sedlacek.
Does this become a city expense? Or a utility expense?
It's a city expense, that's why you approved it.
And it's not a utility expense, is what I'm asking. So then, was this budgeted somewhere?
It's part of your street budget, your street lighting budget. You have to add so many lights a year to the budget.
Okay, so that it was in the street lighting budget?
Right.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Alderperson Jarvis.
What is the cost on this?
It's outlined in the memo on the last line, the cost per light per year is $134.01.
I would like to recognize a 8-year-old who isn't here tonight. Hopefully she's getting ready for school or something, that had written a letter to the mayor, and I passed that along to the utility. And Juliana Nye, I think I pronounced that correctly, brought it to our attention that she thought we needed streetlights on that section of Hummingbird because there's a lot of kids and they do a lot of playing and things down there. So this is how it came forward as a project to all of us tonight. So thank you, Juliana, for your civic involvement at the ripe old age of 8 years old. So we thank you for getting involved. Any other comment? Clerk will call the roll. Oh, I'm sorry, Alderman Fowler.
Distance from Hummingbird to Highland there?
Estimate, John?
I think there's a street light on Highland already, and there's a street light on Killdeer, so we're stuffing 4 in one block there?
Yeah, the distance between streetlights with this plan here is about 200 feet between light, which is the design, so we do the math, maybe 1,000 feet between the existing lights. The one that's on,
I don't think the distance is that far,
On the map here, it's about 800,
yeah.
850 maybe.
okay.
So if you have a light on Killdeer on the corner already, and you have one on Highland, then you only need 3 in between there to be 200 feet apart. Is that right?
The one on Highland is across the intersection, and Highland that intersection is very busy, and you should have another light near that intersection. And this proposed light will be on the west side of the intersection, ways in towards the lot. It will not be right at the corner. And then we try to put the streetlights on lot corners and approximately 190, 200 feet apart. So if you directed something different, that's fine, but I guess let us know.
That fits your usual layout design that you've used in other areas as well?
Correct.
Okay. Any other comments? Clerk will call the roll.
Lottie.
Yes.
Sedlogic.
Yes.
Jarvis.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Fowler.
Yes.
Dobratz.
Yes.
Fernsler.
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you, and thank you, Juliana. Item 11, approve application for temporary Class B fermented malt beverage licenses for the Plymouth Art Center, 520 East Mill Street, from 4 o'clock p.m. to 11 o'clock p.m. on March 4th and 5th, and March 11th and 12th for the Shamrocks and Shenanigans Irish Music Show.
So move, Mayor Pullman.
Second, Alder Anderson.
We have a first and a second to approve the application as read. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Item 12, approve parade request from Sean O'Dwani for the annual Irishman's Walk on Thursday, March 17th, 2011, beginning at 11 o'clock a.m. from Family Video, down Eastern Avenue to Mill Street, and then to 52 Stafford. This has been approved by the chief, correct?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Chair will entertain
No
a
additional cost either to the city. We'll use the existing officers that are working.
Good, thank you. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the parade permit as read.
So moved.
Mr. Mayor.
First and second, your pick. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Item 13, approve taxi driver license applications as indicated, previously approved by the chief. Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second, Alder Hanson.
We have a first and a second to approve the taxi driver license application as indicated. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Item 14, approve taxi cab vehicle license application as indicated, previously approved by the chief.
Oh, we're waiting for approval on the taxi. I think that's part of your notice here.
So we're saying, subject to police department examination,
Correct.
certification.
We do have that.
And proof of
We
insurance.
do have that, no.
Okay, was it that? I
Yes.
think that's-
Do you have the insurance?
No,
That's, if it's a motion to approve, it should be contingent on proof of insurance.
Okay, so we have the other parts, but so the motion would be to approve the taxi cab vehicle license application as indicated with the condition of proof of insurance.
So moved.
Okay. We have a first,
Second, Alder Hanson.
we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Sorry, Chief, I had heard about the other part earlier, so.
Thank you.
Item 15, approve 2010-11 tavern operator licenses as indicated. Chair will entertain a motion to approve, previously approved by the chief.
So moved, Alder Anderson.
Second, Sidlacha.
We have a first and a second to approve the 2010-11 tavern operator licenses as indicated. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Item 16, utility reports. Item A, we have the manager's report for February 2011. Item B, list of vouchers, January 2011. Chair entertains a motion to approve the list of vouchers and authorize payment of same.
So moved, Alder Jarvis.
Second, Dobratz.
We have a first and a second to approve the list of vouchers for January 2011 and authorize payment of same. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Lottie?
One item on this, I'd like to get some clarification on. R&R moving for $1,100. And I'm wondering, what we moved from our utility, we hired a mover to move.
That's a monthly rental bill. We rent storage from R&R Moving,
Okay,
which is immediately to the software facility.
all right, thank you.
Any other discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Fernsler,
Yes.
Dobratz,
Yes.
Fowler,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Jarvis.
Yes.
Sedlacek.
Yes.
Lottie.
Yes,
Motion carried, thank you. Item C, collection statement for January 2011. Item D, uncollectible accounts for February 2011 in the amount of $6,480.97. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the uncollectible accounts for February 2011 for $6,480.97.
so move, Alder Lottie.
Second, Alder Jarvis.
We have a first and a second to approve the uncollectible accounts as indicated. Any discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Lottie.
Yes,
Sedlacek.
Yes.
Jarvis.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Fowler.
Yes.
Dobratz.
Yes.
Fernsler.
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. Item E, historical and projected demand energy charts are acknowledged. Item 17, other business. Reports acknowledged for filing. Library Director. Item B, minutes acknowledged for filing. Library Board, January 3rd. Community Television, January 17th. Safety Committee, December 15th. Item C, announced public hearing at City Hall, 128 Smith Street, Plymouth, Wisconsin, at 8:00 p.m. on March 8th, 2011, regarding an ordinance repealing and recreating Section 13-1-174 zoning code fees and Section 14-1-90 paren D and paren E related to the plot and certified survey map fees, both of the municipal code of the city of Plymouth, Wisconsin. Number 3, that'll be the first reading. This was approved by the Plan Commission. on February 3rd.
Second reading.
It's-
Second, that should be second?
Yeah, the first reading shouldn't,
Yep,
that shouldn't even
second.
have to be in there.
Okay,
Sorry.
thank you. Item 18, Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a first and a second.